because you have an authority figure who's
Right.
validating the cultural appropriateness of your lunch. And he didn't have to write a letter to the parent or take some disciplinary action, but that was like the most human, warm response to, teasing that I've ever seen. No authority figure in my time as an elementary school student in Louisiana would have done such a thing. Plus my parents wouldn't have thought of saying something to the principal because they didn't know they could, right? And now in his other school, and it's a talented, gifted school, it's one of those tag schools, right? They have Chinese classes, they celebrated Lunar New Year, except when they celebrated Lunar New Year, they called it Chinese Lunar New Year, and I had to write a note to the teacher saying, you shouldn't do that. Many countries and many ethnicities celebrate New Year, and there's a history of Chinese colonizing Vietnamese, so please don't use Chinese New Year. Because, I was brought up with that innate, and it's hard, I'll admit this bias, but, so many of the elders were innately just suspicious or outright against Chinese because of the long history between the Chinese and Vietnamese, and it's kind of in my head, to be honest. I have lots of Chinese friends, but my gut reaction was to recoil when I saw that he said, Mommy, we're celebrating Chinese Lunar New Year. I'm like, honey, we celebrate Lunar New Year too. It's not just Chinese Lunar New Year, So I was a little irked about that. But, I made some policy recommendations, like maybe you should vet your cultural, activities a little better, make sure that, you're titling them correctly. They sent this long response saying, sorry, we want to be as meaningful and correct as possible. But anyways, it's just worlds different from when I was young as to now, just completely worlds different. Yeah.
And do you think just like schools in general are, how to put it, like do they have like enough, I wouldn't say cultural activities, but just
Cultural humility, cultural competence.
yes. Because in America, like we're so diverse. There's so many different cultures, religions. There's like so much going on.
I want to unpack the term first, and then I'll talk about what they're doing and what they should be. The term cultural competence is now outdated. I think most cultural practitioners want to call it cultural humility because it implies cultural competence means that if you take a course, you're going to be competent in culture, which no one is. So now the new wave is cultural humility, where it's a lifelong way of thinking and trying to make sure that you're always checking yourself and your biases and your knowledge of power, oppression, and such, and marginalization. So cultural humility is what I'm going to call it. The second thing is that what now I think school districts are doing is not enough. I don't think cultural humility is part of the core training for teachers. I think it's only implemented rarely in school districts. It's not something they make a big deal out of. They have policies about multiculturalism and including students, but I don't know if they're including that in core training for teachers. And I don't think it's included in university curriculum for teachers that are in training, as far as I know. That's something that needs to change if we're serious about it. But maybe I'm wrong. It'd be great to know, but and I have a sense that it's not a continuous thing because you should be getting that cultural humility training every year as a refresher, because I think I got my first real good cultural humility training a couple years ago, and I was blown away. I was like, oh, I've been in this movement for 8 years, the civil rights movement. I know nothing. I'm nothing. It just brought me down to the ground. And that's what a really good cultural humility training should do to you each time you take it, is that, oh, I know nothing. I am nothing. I am egoless. Oh, wow. I've been a little bit privileged. You should feel that way. You should feel challenged to your core every time you take it. And even today, I know that if I take a really good one, I'm going to be like, oh, wow, I need to check myself in this way, because we're just filled with so many messages that bias us and, make us perceive certain people, things, or situations in a certain way every day that, that stuff builds up. And so every year, I feel like everyone should be taking that kind of education to remind us of our privilege and how we need to step back.
thank you.
Oh, that's it?
Well,
Well, that's the first part.
yeah.
Oh, first
Yeah.
part, okay.
So